So the news has not been so good lately with tariff policy chaos, the stock market going down in value, and prices continuing to go up. Many banks and experts out there are throwing the R word around, the word recession. And if you are a mom like me who has to manage a household with a child at home and working, we need to start paying attention because financial hard times ahead, and we all need to take steps today to ensure that our family survives and thrives in the end. Today, I am sharing simple tips you can take to prepare your family. So whether you are a working mom, a stay-at-home mom, or just a mom worried about their kids and wanting the best for their family and wanting to stretch your dollars, this video is for you. So let's jump right in. So what exactly is a recession and what does it mean for you and your family? A recession basically means that the economy is slowing down. We aren't spending as much. And what is happening with all the tariffs, the stock market decreasing, and all that is creating a lot of uncertainty. And uncertainty causes fear, and fear means a lot of household and businesses are going to start keeping more of their money and not spending. Now, we live in a capitalistic society where spending is the norm and the number one priority. When businesses and households don't spend, it trickles down. If you are at work, you are probably hearing some things like clients aren't spending as much, maybe sales are low, or maybe your company is tightening the budgets and not giving raises or other perks. So you need to start paying attention to see what's happening so that you can prepare. Now, of course, it can be easy to get paralyzed by all the news out there. There's so much fear and there's so much going on, but this is not the time to freeze. What you want to do is put in a plan of action to ensure your family budget stays intact and that you have the means to support your family should something happen. Now, recessions normally lead to job loss. It might mean hours being cut from your work. It might mean the stock market continues to decline. Recessions can also lead to higher prices. Right now, we are seeing that with food, we are seeing that with insurance, and we are seeing that with so many other bills. So we just want to plan accordingly so that we have the means to still support our family when the hard times come. A lot of the financial moves we take doesn't happen overnight. It takes weeks and months to prepare, to save, and we need to get that started today. The first thing that I would recommend is you actually start cutting back today and start holding off on big purchases. Look at your budget and focus on your needs and eliminate your wants. I know this is going to be hard because cutting back is hard. It means removing some luxuries, some of the nice things that we've gotten used to. But what we want to start doing now is to start preparing and creating a buffer in our budgets. Once we have that buffer, we can use that money to put towards our emergency fund, which I will cover in step 2. But for the first step, really review your budget. Get strict about what you can eliminate. This will be for peace of mind for your family today as well as tomorrow. So you likely will go on what's called a bare bones budget. If you're not familiar with the bare bones budget, you can take a look at an in-depth video here. But basically, a bare bones budget really only considers your necessities. That means having food for your family, having prescriptions to ensure everyone stays healthy, paying your mortgage or rent, and doing the bare minimum to ensure that you survive and stack some cash on hand. This will mean that any wants will have to be eliminated. This could mean eliminating subscriptions, takeout, kids' activities, gym memberships, other luxuries, and trips to Target, as well as random Amazon purchases. this is the time to really optimize your expenses and get strict with what you are spending money on. In this step, you also want to be negotiating your bills. So look at the line items from your credit cards and your debit transactions and see if there are recurring bills that you can negotiate to get a lower rate. In another video, I recommended that you use ChatGPT to help you with your negotiating strategy. That way you know exactly what to say to those companies, to your providers, to get a lower rate. What I would recommend is not to wait until later to cut back. Do it slowly so that it doesn't seem as drastic if and when hard times fall. If you have already made summer plans, maybe you have already paid for a summer camp, maybe you have vacation already paid for. I think it's fine to keep those, but you want to be aware of what's happening, and maybe you want to find other ways to decrease your spending so that it doesn't feel like you are going overboard when times are tough. I'd also recommend, as part of your step one when it comes to spending, is to hold off on big expenses. That means no new car purchases, maybe no big purchases when it comes to furniture, maybe no house purchases unless you actually have the means to do so. That means you're not going to be stretching your budget. You can put in a large down payment and it's not going to stretch your family budget that much. But I would just be wary of what it means if you're going to make a large purchase, if you're going to start adding a monthly payment to your budget, and if something does happen where you incur a job loss, what would happen then? Be aware and plan forward when it comes to that. The next thing that you are going to do to ensure your family survives the recession is to build or beef up an emergency fund. Stash away money as much as you can. One of the most common outcomes when it comes to a recession is job loss. That means losing income. Without income, you cannot feed your family, you cannot pay your rent or your mortgage. So you want to put money aside so that you can tap into it if that happens. Now, an emergency fund is basically cash that you've put into a separate savings account, and you are going to use it for things that are emergencies, things that you have no control over. And you're going to put that money because it will give you some peace of mind and allow you to sleep at night. Now, the recommended amount for an emergency fund post-COVID is actually 6 to 9 months. I know that's a lot of money. So if you don't have that yet, you are going to start small. You are going to take all of the money that you have saved in step one by optimizing your expenses, and you are going to put that money into your emergency fund, whether it's 100 or 200. And you are going to have a plan that from each paycheck, you are going to put in a certain amount to your emergency fund. You need to make this a deliberate habit. Use the automatic transfer feature to move your money from your checking to that savings account that will act as your emergency fund. You can start small, but you need to work quickly. I will have another video up here on how to build your emergency fund. If you are not familiar, it's going to be out after this video, so make sure you subscribe to Sisters for Fi so you see it right away. As a mom, I already have so much to worry about, but knowing that we have funds in place that we can use should something happen gives me peace of mind. Your emergency fund is there to give you more options. It's there to give you the space and time to make decisions for the long term. This means you are not going to be panicking. If you lose your job, you know you have some money set aside to help your family. And it also reduces your need to tap into credit cards, which unfortunately are at very high rates right now. And lastly, it also reduces the likelihood that you will need to liquidate your investments or tap into a retirement account for money. Because the stock market has been on the decline, if you do tap into that, you will likely be liquidating assets at a loss. You don't want to be doing that. This is why you want the emergency fund in place. I will cover other tips in this video to beef up your emergency fund, so make sure you listen and watch the whole video. Step 3 to prepare your family for a potential recession is to get focused on your high interest debt. This is any debt that is over 10%. Likely, this might be credit card debt, and you want to be focusing on paying that down as much as you can. Right now, a lot of your hard-earned money is going to interest. So the more you can focus on getting that high interest debt down, the more money you will save and the more room you will have in your budget. Credit card has a real sneaky way of adding up quickly, so you'll want to be on top of that. Now, many credit card companies use what's called the average daily balance to calculate and charge your interest. You need to know what this means because it is probably costing you a lot of money. And the number one thing I would recommend that you do starting today is to start sending small payments right away to your credit card company. This will reduce the average daily balance and allow you to save money on interest and allow you to pay down that debt much faster. To learn more about the billing cycle as well as the average daily balance and all the tips to pay your credit card much faster, I'm going to point you to this playlist, which has a series of videos to help you pay down that credit card and any other high interest debt that you have. Next tip is to make yourself indispensable at work. As the recession looms, many companies will start to get stricter with their budgets. And because of this uncertainty, they will likely freeze hiring, they might freeze raises, or they might, as a last resort, start doing layoffs. And one of the biggest advice I will tell you is that in order for your name not to be on the layoff list, you need to make sure that your company knows the good work that you're doing. Do not be the difficult employee. I know there's a lot of things we can complain about work. It sucks that we have to go back to the office and so much more. But now might be the time to just not say anything and just do the work, but also make sure your managers know the good work that you're doing. Make yourself known as a team player. If you are not one to tout your accomplishments, you need to get over it and start doing so. Layoff decisions happen behind closed doors, and you want your managers and other people championing you as a good employee so you are not on that layoff list. So while you still have a job, keep doing good work. While you're still at work, learn new skills, maybe learn a new software, take on some other work that you might not have experience in. All of this can help you if and when the time comes to get a new job. Don't wait for something to happen to you. Get proactive at work so that you can keep your job and ensure that income comes and you are not on that layoff list. If you do get laid off at work, your first priority will be to file unemployment. Do that right away because sometimes those take time and you want to make sure you get the paperwork submitted right away so that you can get some funds coming in to replace your income. For other things that you can do if you get laid off, I want you to check out this video and it will also be in the description so you know exactly what to do step by step if a layoff happens. So I need a favor from you. I want to help more moms and more families get better with their money so that we have more for ourselves, our family, and our next generation. If this video has been helpful, give it a like and share it with a mom friend. And if you want to learn more about how to manage your money better, invest, pay off credit card, as well as get on a better budget, then please subscribe to Sisters for Fi. Next tip is to find extra income. Now, I know you're already putting in a lot of hours at work to make sure you are indispensable, and maybe you're taking on more hours in case they do cut it in the long term. But you also want to get some quick wins when it comes to getting income. And the first thing might be just to return the stuff you have at home, things that you thought you were going to use but didn't. So look at all of your Amazon purchase, look at all of your Costco purchases, Target purchases, and see across all of those things if those items can be returned. That's an easy win to get money back. Number two is to look around your house. What else can you sell? Are there extra furnitures, double of things that you can get rid of? Maybe you have old kids' clothes, old sports equipment that your kids no longer use. You can sell those. Anything that can allow you to get some quick cash is a good win. This might also be the time to figure out some freelancing work, maybe some other services that you are seeing the community needs. Offer those now. Again, you might not be doing this for a long time. This is just a temporary place where you can earn some quick money to have on hand. The next step that you're going to take to prepare your family for a recession is to have the hard conversation. Have a conversation with your partner and then with your children about what's going on with the household. If you are a parent in a one income household, that means you might be the ones managing the finances but not earning the income. You need to talk to your partner about what's worrying you and what steps you want to take as a family to make sure you have cash on hand and have that peace of mind. If you are part of a family with two incomes, you also still need to have a conversation about your family situation. What happens if one of you gets laid off? How much impact will that have on the family budget, on the family expenses? Can you still survive? Maybe with some tweaks and changes to your budget on one income. What will that look like? Now is the time to have the conversation, not when you've already lost that income, because emotions are going to be high, fear is going to be high, there's going to be anger, and you don't want to have fights about your family finances. You want to come from a position of strength where you and your partner have a plan in place should something happen, should job loss happen, should anything else that will affect your finances happen. And the other conversation you want to be having is with your kids, especially if you have kids who have certain needs, certain wants, kids who are used to certain things. This is now the time to let them know that your family is preparing for something. Now, you don't need to tell them all the details of your finances, but you want to give them a sense that you are working to ensure that your family has money. Should something happen, this is why you're cutting back. Explain the reasons. Kids are resilient and they want to understand what's happening. Here's the thing, if you don't talk to them, their friends will talk to them, social media will talk to them, and everything else outside of your control will influence them. So you want to be the first person to let them know, assuage some of their worries. If they're worried about money, if that's trickled down to the classes that they're taking, to the conversations they're having at school or with their friends, let them know that you as a parent are working to make sure you provide for the family and ensure that your family survives and thrives after a recession. And yes, you do need to ask them to probably give up a few things, and they will need to understand that, but they need to know the reasons why so they are also prepared. And you need to work as a family unit together to ensure everyone is on the same page. These conversations are never easy, but think about when you were growing up, when the Great Recession happened back in 2008. What kind of feelings did you have? What worries did you have? How can you reduce that anxiety for your children? How can you model different behaviors that maybe you did not find so positive when your parents and your own household went through the Great Recession? Now is the time to change your family generation as well as change the way that you talk about money for the next generation. The next thing that I would also want to make sure you are aware of is to tap into your community. Your community likely has a lot of resources to help families. Now, I know asking for help is hard and you might not be used to it, especially if you have come from a family that had money or at least had the means to provide for the family. But if something does happen and you do need support, do not forget that your local food banks are available. Local organizations like churches and temples have support to help families with feeding their kids. There's other organizations that you can tap into. If you are at a loss, you can also call your county representative as well as your town rep to see if there's resources that you can tap into. For a lot of families, seeking assistance will likely be just a temporary period in your life, and that's okay. Once you are back on your feet, then it's now time for you to help others as well. So make sure you are part of that community, reach out for community resources, and create that cycle where you are also giving once you are back on your feet. Next thing is to stay invested, especially if you are already putting money into a retirement account or a separate IRA account. Continue to do so. Of course, it can be very tempting to pull out your money because the stock market is on the decline. But when the stock market is on the decline, it is actually an opportunity to buy some mutual funds and stocks at a discount. Instead of you buying at a high rate, you're now buying at a lower price. So keep that in mind. Keep your automated transfers for investments intact so that you continue to be in the market. Remember, your retirement accounts have a long time horizon. Likely, you will need that account years from now. So you want that money to continue to be invested for the next 20, 25, 30 years, however long you have. When you stop contributing, you will risk not being able to participate in the growth of the economy and the stock market when everything else bounces back around. Remember that everything has a cycle. So yes, while we are in the downslope, the upslope will be in the next few years. Do not let fear keep you from participating and riding in the upcycle. For me, I have invested in the stock market since I got a job after college. That means during the Great Recession, I was investing. That means during COVID, I was investing. And now I will continue to invest. Everything is an automatic transfer. It's an automatic investment, so I don't worry about it. And if you are a mom, this is the thing that you want to do. You want to be automating some of your investments so you don't have a lot to worry about. We already have so much on our plate. Why add that to our never-ending to-do list? If you want more tips to help you invest, whether you're the first-time investor or you want to do more, I will have another video linked in the description as well as somewhere here to help you with your investing so that you can ride the upcycle of when the economy finally turns around. The last advice I'm going to give you is a three-parter. Number one, don't give up. Recessions come and go. And if you plan for it today, move that money to your savings account today, get started and get proactive with ensuring you have the means to provide for your family if and when this recession comes or if and when another emergency comes. Number two, please do your best to stay away from cash advances from your credit card. Cash advances typically have higher interest rates, and the interest rates gets charged immediately after you take out that cash. So do not even consider cash advances. Make it a rule in your family that you are not going to do cash advances no matter what. And the last thing, please do not borrow or liquidate any of your existing retirement investment accounts. Those have been earmarked for future you. Now, I know it can be tempting because that money is there and it's yours, but it is for future you. And if you do take out your money, you will be taking your money out on a loss because of the stock market decline, and you will likely lose some of your money to penalties as well as taxes. For the sake of your future self, keep it there. I know it's going to be hard, but I know that you and I and everyone else can make it through these tough times. Remember that a recession might be out of your control, but we can take steps now in order to prepare and reduce its impact on our family and our family finances. So take a deep breath, make a plan, use the ideas from this video, and put in a plan of action for the sake of your family. Thank you again for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. To learn more about how to master your budget, this video is going to be for you. And to learn how to beef up or build up your emergency fund, this video is going to be for you.